What is the horizon? And what is never to be changed? This is the making of distant horizons. Distant Horizons is the title of my audiovisual installation that features a 20-minute immersive audio soundscape, which in turn also acts as an intro for a 15-minute electronic EP. But what does it actually mean? In order to understand the meaning, we must look into already existing philosophical definitions of horizons. Looking at the German philosopher Hans-Georg Gadamer's definition of fusion of horizons, a horizon can be viewed as an individual's own opinion and perspective on certain subjects. But what if we extend these thoughts and flip them by 90 degrees? Distant Horizons seeks to explore the inevitabilities of life that everyone faces at some point, and how they overcome them. Viewing things from a 90-degree angle can be seen as a motto throughout the whole project, starting from the planning phase. The most prevalent aspect being the projection itself, featuring two screens that are divided by a corner. Next to that, several color schemes were created following the same principle, as well as a room layout detailing room measurements and speaker positions. And finally, it was time to decide what software to use. So for this project I used FL Studio for the production part, Ableton and Evo Suite in combination, for mostly the visuals as well as the ambisonics mixing, and Premiere Pro for the final video editing. And seeing as this is my first installation, it was necessary to draw inspiration from real exhibitions and see the way they had the projections laid out. For this reason, I visited the Beyond the Baseline exhibition at the British Library. Beyond the Baseline explores a 500-year-old history of Black British music and was an ideal place to look at the way projections were set up and configured. The main reason for visiting this exhibition, however, was to view an installation called Within the Echo, which has the same projection layout I sought to create. This allowed me to get a better picture of the visuals and actually see what's possible, especially with having two screens. But not only the installation needed inspiration, the EP did as well. And for that reason I looked for songs that radiate the same energy and atmosphere that I tried to create with the Distant Horizons theme. Two specific songs were essential in aiding me to find the right vibe for the EP. Hearing Damage by Tom York and Bare Wingers I've Neighbors by Fred again, both of which display a solemn yet powerful atmosphere in their own ways, fitting in perfectly with the theme. After creating the song instrumentals in FL Studio, it was time to meet up with the artist and record vocals.
Camera, we going this way now, because Grisha didn't write bars.
Three of my friends came into question when recording vocals: Max Coombs, Grisha McMillan and Nico Stern, last of which I recorded in April earlier this year. Working with artists helped tremendously in realizing my vision and conveying the atmosphere of the theme, while also contributing with their own ideas. In another recording session with Rakesh Praveen, we recorded several guitar takes through a digital amp, aimed specifically to be used in the trip scene of the installation. Rakesh's natural playing made that scene feel more alive and offered me various sound design possibilities on top. Having a natural feeling to the soundscape was important for more than just that scene though. And a lot of it is supposed to replicate real life, which is why the Foley recording and sound designs were very, very important. The soundscape features a multitude of ambience field recordings, both recorded by myself and sourced through sound libraries. In addition to that, a lot of sounds are Foley recordings of random objects, giving me extra control of the shape of the sound. The biggest impact, however, was through sound design, which was both achieved through multi-layering, manipulation of pre-existing sounds, and self-synthesized sounds. But as we are speaking about an audio-visual installation, the sound is only half of the equation, the other ones obviously being the visuals. Using Evo Suite provided a unique video editing process that in many ways can be compared to audio sampling. Moving the video editing process into Ableton allows for in-depth video and audio manipulation at the same time. Evo Suite provides a multitude of video effect plugins like Shine and RGB Shift, which were essential in making the video reactive to the audio by combining them with the envelope follower. But where were the videos sourced from? The video content is a mix of self-recorded footage, AI-generated videos via Runway, and royalty-free Pixabay footage, all of which were used as samples later on in the workflow.
But then it's also a bad thing, because that's a fucking carrot.
The first day saw us unloading most of the equipment. Thankfully, Nick was able to organize 2 short-throw projectors for me, which were required if I wanted to project 2 screens, as the room was too small for conventional projectors. Additionally, a workshop member of our university installed 4 floating shelves in my room for the top speakers to stand on. After mounting the speakers on the shelves and roughly wiring all of them up, I installed a cloth over the top window to block out the sunlight. This, however, would not be the last time that I would do that. Day 2 saw the first test with using Resolume Arena and seeing if the visuals that I had planned out would actually work. I spent a lot of time adjusting the projector layout and getting the right angles, having them meet up in the corner of the room. And, perhaps as a foreshadowing, one of the smaller curtain pieces fell off and needed to be retaped. As it had to happen, the main curtain was too heavy for the duct tape to hold. Instead of fixing that up though, I carried on with different tasks, like wiring up the speakers to the interface correctly. I also hung up a big entrance curtain that would aid with incoming sunlight and sound isolation. In order to secure it, I drilled several holes into the neighboring wall and mounted small hooks into it, which would carry some of the curtain's weight. Day 4 saw me repeating this process on the ceiling. As tape was too fragile to carry the curtain's weight, I instead cut small holes into the cloth, which I would then mount onto the hooks. Before I would go on to finish the installation setup, I would meet up with fellow classmate and the head organizer of our group show, Nick Feldman, who has a long history of creating audiovisual content as well as hosting events for over 25 years.
I'm Nick Feldman. I am an audiovisual artist, but I also produce and promote audiovisual events. At the actual audiovisual scene, as it were, like particularly in London, is still very small and very niche. And so I guess because some people feel like, are they going to go to a cinema? Or, they're not unsure about what kind of event they're going to see, perhaps. Yeah. Big and visceral projections, I think, is quite important. And then obviously that leads to other things. So not only do you need all your audio cables and connectors and DI boxes and whatever. You need an equivalent for video. As I said, obviously because it's more static and kind of gallery installations, I guess it could sit well in a number of just gallery shows. Like there's more and more technologies as it's become more accessible and cheaper, even smaller museums and gallery shows, use sensors and video and sounds on multi sort of speaker setups. Like it's very commonplace, I find. So I really think it would sit quite well in a gallery show.
Knowing that my installation was on the right way and could actually be considered in a proper AV gallery exhibition, I carried on with the setup. The final day was all about making the room tidy and ready for presentation. I mounted a multitude of cable clips along the walls, which would hold the XLR and power cables in place. Once that was done, I finished up by taping the cables tightly across the edges of the room. Doing a final check, everything seemed to be ready for the upcoming group show and presentation days. Sorry?
People at the free bar, you mean? Oh, they get more than a little bit tipsy.
Want it or not, you can't change it.
The actual presentation days didn't see much action, with occasional visitors coming in every now and then. This in turn gave me time to record my installation, work on the script for this documentary, and ask some of my classmates for their opinions on Distant Horizons.
Yeah, I thought it was effective mostly, and then I guess at other parts it gets a bit more abstract, and I don't know if that's maybe on purpose or, at some points it's more, the storytelling's more like you're taking us through what's going on, and then other parts, like after they take the drugs, then it goes like abstract for quite a while.
That was absolutely incredible. The narrative of it was beautiful. It really came through in all of the sounds and visuals that you had. The setup was very impressive and really took full control of that whole immersive side of things. Even just having, instead of just having it like on a projector, the fact that you went to the length of having it in two things to actually put you in the space and have the two panels of the projection interact with each other, you really took all the stops, man. Like it's really impressive. There is a place for this kind of work, and I'd love to see more of it and more opportunities for people like you who have worked like this to present themselves, because I feel like this is the kind of immersive media that a lot of people can appreciate.
De-rigging the system was surprisingly quick, taking just 3 hours, which is not a lot when compared to the 5 days it took to set everything up. It was a strange feeling, as I, on the one hand, was happy that everything worked out and that my installation was a success, but on the other hand it felt strange taking all of it down after working on it for such a prolonged period of time. At the end of it all though, all the equipment was organized and ready to return to the tech office, which meant there was just one last thing to do. With the installation successfully completed, it was just down to the mixing of the EP in both ambisonics and Dolby Atmos formats. All 6 mixes were done in 2 7-hour sessions at the LR9 studio, which has 7.1.4 configuration. Having both ambisonics and Dolby Atmos mixes meant that I would have a lot more possibilities when publishing the EP, having the option to both include it in future updated installations as well as releasing it on streaming services in immersive audio. And yeah, That's all of it. From the planning to the production to the installation setup and finally to the mixing. It was truly an experience, and even though I had to make up stuff on the way or things didn't go as planned, I still had a lot of fun, and I'm still proud of the way the whole project turned out. I want to thank everyone again that has helped me along the way and ultimately to make this project come to life. And finally, thank you for watching.